Madam Toastmaster, members, and welcome guests. Did you ever take your toys apart when you were a kid? Well, my mom likes to tell the story about how when I was a kid, I would be the only sibling of 4 that had no toys the day after Christmas. That's cause the day of Christmas, I had taken all my toys apart because I wanted to know how they worked. Worst off, I even wanted to take my sister's exact same piano apart. Well, that was just the beginning of mechanically inclined me. In high school, my sister dated a boy that had a brother who was a mechanic. I had this mechanic brother help me find the very first car that I ever bought and owned. And after that, I asked him if he would teach me how to tune it up. He gladly did. When I graduated from college, I took a job with IBM in Austin and moved here. To help take the burden off the rent, I found a roommate. Well, one night my roommate was telling me about her car woes. Well, I told her that I knew how to tune up a car. Well, she was pretty excited about this, and then excited about the fact that I thought I could help her save money and tune up the car. So she agreed. So the night of the big event, we decided to start off by having a beer. Well, as we started, we had another and another. But we were having so much fun laughing and cussing, because you see, you understand, you've heard the term, he cusses like a mechanic, or was that a sailor? Whichever, it's manly. So we were laughing and cussing in the middle of taking off the first spark plug when the phone rang. Well, it was my mom, so I went to go take the call. I told her, go ahead and take off the next spark plug while I take this call. I went into the house, talked to my mom, half hour later walked back out, and my roommate looked at me beaming and announced she had taken all the spark plugs out and all the spark plug wires off. I looked at the car, and then I looked at her in horror. That was back in the days of points and distributor caps. Well, you see, the spark plugs fire in a certain order, and she had erased that order. The next day, we had to call the tow truck and have the car taken to a mechanic. It was an expensive learning lesson. Another time, I was driving home from IBM, and my car broke down. I had to park the car in the 183 medium. Well, later that night, I was telling my roommate about my car woes, but I told her I had a plan. So I had read this method about how to tow a car. All you needed was a tire and 2 ropes. Well, it just so happened I had a tire and a big fat double Dutch jump rope. So I explained to her, you take 1 rope, loop it through the tire, tie it to the back of her car, take the other rope, loop it through the tire, and tie it to the front of my car. So that night, we waited until after midnight, drove out to 183 when we knew traffic would be lighter. I started to hook up the cars, but I didn't want to cut my big fat jump rope. So I just looped it through the tire once, tied it to the back of her car, and then the other end to the front of my car. So she's towing me home, and the tire started moving from the middle of the rope towards my car. Well, we came to a stoplight, and my car rolled over the tire. Well, she had to tow me the rest of the way home with the tire lodged under my car. The next day I was able to diagnose the problem, and I replaced the alternator. The car started beautifully, but there was a new symptom. My car was now rattling and loose, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I took it to a mechanic. Well, the mechanic diagnosed the problem. My tie rod was broken, and it was going to be very expensive to fix. So I decided I would fix it myself. So I went and rented a tie rod separator tool like the one I read about in my owner's manual, took the tool, put it between the ball and socket, and started hammering on it. Nothing happened. So I hammered harder. I was hammering so hard I thought I was going to break my car, but I didn't back away until my big hammer broke. I finally gave up. I had to take my car to the mechanic, and I had to pay a lot of money to get it fixed. Remember when Freon was taken off the market, air conditioning Freon? Well, I was working at IBM at the time. One of my coworkers and I were talking about this, and we decided we'd take a lunch run, go buy some Freon, and come back to work and charge our cars before the law could make us criminals. Well, we did. We parked our car under the shade, we recharged our air conditioning systems, and then took a ribbing the rest of the day for the embarrassing event out in the parking lot. Well, over the long run, I know I've come out ahead in car maintenance expenses. And I know I'm going to stay ahead for two very important reasons. Number one, thanks to the Japanese, cars are more reliable. And number two, I'm making enough money now to buy Japanese cars and pay a mechanic.